All right, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? We're going to be talking about Zavala and his Nightfall reward drops. We're going to be talking about the weapons that he has. You can get your vendor rank up, right? I haven't been playing a lot of strikes, a lot of Nightfalls to just kind of get what I get and get out of there. But when you go into his focusing engram loops, you're going to be looking for a few good weapons. Now, I can't count out anything that he has here besides the sword, everything else that he has for offer here, but we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to start with the Strident Whistle. Now, when talking about the Strident Whistle, we're going to have to talk about the pre-Axonix. And the pre-Axonix with the Strident Whistle, they're going to be doing two totally different things. So, depending on what type of string you want, depending on what type of masterwork you end up getting with it, you can get the draw time masterwork. I'm pretty sure the game leans more heavily into the draw time masterwork, seeing that's what most people want. But if you do get an accuracy masterwork, it's not the end of the world. Just make sure you get a polymer string, or you end up getting a I want to say an elastic string. So the polymer string and the elastic string, they're really going to knock down your draw time. The high tension string is probably something you're not going to want to go for unless you're used to using the Wishender or the Lay Monarch. The Lay Monarch feels like it has a little bit harder draw time because you can't really manipulate the draw speed with it. For those who can use it, kudos on you. But the Strident Whistle is going to do something different than the pre-Axonix. Now, when I have my Strident Whistle, I'm mainly using it for PvE. Now, you could say the same thing about pre-Axonix, but it's a different level of PvE with the pre-Axonix. With the pre-Axonix, we're going to be talking about using it for GMs, but it has that cool little colorful type of perk at the end of pre-Axonix, which is the wild card. Now, a fiberglass arrow string or the natural fletching, you can go through all the different ones here. When it comes to the bow, it's all preference for the player. You can sit here and say that there is a god roll for it, but the god roll for the Strident Whistle, in my opinion, is up to interpretation for that type of player. Some people may not like the extremely low draw times on some bows, and some people will be like, well, why don't people like the low draw times on a bow? The faster you can draw it, the better. It's the feel. It's all about the feel of the weapon. And when you're going for a pre-Axonix, since it has way less perks, you're gonna fight for that more often. So we get the Archer's Tempo, we got the Incandescent, and for comparison sakes, we'll probably be doing a pre-Axonix with the Archer's Tempo Incandescent. Now, you can get the infamous Archer's Tempo Rampage with the Strident Whistle, and that is a fan favorite across the bows when it comes to Arsenic Bite. That had a Archer's Tempo Rampage. Now, pre-Axonix, again, with the lesser amount of perks that are available on this, you're going to want to hyper-focus this one until you get that God roll, until you end up getting the fiberglass arrow, until you end up getting the elastic string possibly, or you're going to want to get that Archer's Tempo. Now, you can get the Shoot the Loot Incandescent. The Shoot the Loot Incandescent isn't too bad. The Incandescent, if I'm correct, it kind of works with Shoot the Loot. I know that the wild card does, but it takes a long time for those wild card orbs to explode. I want to say about 10 seconds for those things to explode if no one steps over them. So that's kind of not really the best, but I digress. When you go into an adept pre-Axonix, now you're messing with adept mods. You can put on that draw time. You can put on that draw time masterwork, or I want to say masterwork, but what is it called? A mod? Yeah, it's called a mod. So you can put on that draw time mod. You can go for the Archer's Tempo explosive, but when it comes to the pre-Axonix, you're looking for those perks in the first few columns to give you that low draw time, putting on that mod to give you a lower draw time, so that you can focus more on perpetual motion and opening shot, or successful warm-up in Archer's Tempo. And you're going to be really putting those two things together so that your pre-Axonix can perform better in those high-octane activities. Now, the Trinity Ghoul is the only one that I know so far that can do the best version of quote unquote Jolt. Now you get a kill, you shoot the arrows, you do the chain lightning, right? It doesn't do Jolt, not yet. Hopefully it does, but Trinity Ghoul is doing what you want your bow to do with the incandescent thing. So Trinity Ghoul still is good. And the day that, what is that thing called? You shoot from the hip, you ignite people, and then when you do a precision shot, it does an explosion. I'm drawing a blank on it right now, but once that can do ignitions or scorch damage, it's over for probably pre-accents and I forgot the name of it, Strident Whistle. Now the Undercurrent. The Undercurrent is forbearance at home, so we can't talk about wave frame arc grenade launchers without talking about Undercurrent and forbearance together in the same sentence. Now, when it comes to the wave frame grenade launchers, you have some stuff that can do with the recoil direction. You're mainly going to be focused on velocity and blast radius. Velocity and blast radius. I don't think that the stability really it impacts it too much. The handling can be manipulated up to a sense, but you're going to want a close to about 80 handling so that when you end up switching over like a quick access sling, I want to say that kind of passively gives you not the damage, but the animation timer. It manipulates that, or it kind of gives you a passively plus 20 handling, but eventually maybe I'll show it on screen of what the adept quick access sling can do. But there, I want to say there's an adept handling mod as well that gives you plus, where is it? It is, yeah, a plus 10 handling, plus 6 handling, plus 10 handling. Right, whatever. So if you're almost maxed out, it's just going to give you the cap out, but it is a plus 10 handling on that. So the adept handling mod will be working for it, and this is a controversial take for the Undercurrent versus the forbearance, but in my opinion, through playing with them, the ambitious assassin and the chain reaction versus the demolitionist jolt for the Undercurrent, the demolitionist jolt just feels a lot better. You can get the kill, you can throw the grenade, you can do the thing, you get the kill, you get the jolt back, you jolt the enemy, they take extra damage. It's kind of like it's doing what it needs to do for act clear. Now there is a there's a single shot grenade launcher in the game that used to be good called Salvage or Salvo, and it has chain reaction on it, and it was a fantastic weapon. I think I got like over 3,000 kills on it, but chain reaction just isn't doing jolt. It is doing add clear, but it isn't doing jolt, and we want those verbs to be activated. Now forbearance, if you get an adept forbearance, but again, I'll say it again, are you out there doing master raids? Because if you are, I mean, kudos to you, but if you're not, you're looking at regular forbearance versus the Undercurrent, and adept for adept, the forbearance is going to be, in my opinion, flex, and the Undercurrent is going to be for fun. Jolt versus chain reaction, that's on preference, but I like Undercurrent, right? So the Uzume RR4. The Uzume is an adept. It's an adept sniper rifle, solar. It's got a lot of competition here, right? We got stuff back from far future. We got Mercurial Overreach. We got the FU-55, the beloved 1,000 yard stare. I want to say the Adored is on this list, but the Uzume RR4, if you like it, you like it. It's an all-along sniper. It doesn't really have too much, right? And this is the wrong Uzume that I'm looking at. I'm pretty sure that this is the old Uzume. Excuse me. But when we look at the right Uzume, we have to put it up against the things that people are using right now. That's the Adored. That's the beloved. If you got 1,000 yard stare, kudos to you for doing Grasp of Avarice dungeon, because that thing has become, it's not the easiest dungeon to do out there. You got the Galyu RR3, that's Uzume at home. So comparing Uzume to the other adept PvP sniper rifles, a lot of people are going to go for that Mercurial Overreach just, again, for the flex. I don't think the Mercurial Overreach is that good, but if I'm looking for a sniper I'm going to take in a PvP, it's probably going to be What is that one called? Arc. When you get a headshot, lightning strikes the opponents. Cloud Strike. Cloud Strike. But Uzume RR4 Adept. I guess you can really focus on this recoil direction if you want to. It's not really going to be make or break because you're not really shooting down shots down range like that to where the recoil direction is going to be like impactful to your gameplay. You're gonna be really wanting that steady rounds though. The steady rounds on the Uzume, you're gonna feel that. So you get an extended barrel, you get that extended range, right? And then you go ahead and you look for that steady rounds, you get that stability, and now you're losing out on handling. Now for the handling, you're probably gonna want a handling masterwork, and that's gonna make up for the handling that you missed for the steady rounds. So you can do 4 times the charm Vorpal, but ain't no one's using this in PvE. For that type of kill, and they're about to change special ammo. So I mean, clown cartridge. So now we're looking at Uzume as more of a PvE type of weapon. So we get 4 times the charm explosive payload. There's so many other snipers that you can craft that will outpace the Uzume RR4 even in its adept form. It just doesn't have the perk combinations to keep up with anything else that you can actually craft. If you could take an adept PvE weapon and enhance it, maybe you'll see some people using it, but in order for the Uzume RR4 to keep up even against the Galio RR3, you're looking at, I don't know, there's too many more perks that it needs to be different. It needs a specific type of roll that comes with it, because all these rolls on the far right column are all cookie cutter. Even if you look at the god roll down there, it's 4 times the charm. I think it's called Enlighten Action. So when you miss one of the it was a precision instrument, one or two. It could be precision instrument. Precision instrument. When you miss with that, you don't end up you lose all your damage buildup from Enlighten Action. And Uzume's not like refilling its own ammunition, something like an icebreaker. Uzume ain't icebreaker. Uzume is for those who like it. But if you like Uzume, then you probably like the Twilight Oath, which I think has 40 zoom, so 10 less zoom than the Uzume. So Twilight Oath, Uzume, you're probably going to stick to your 1,000-yard stare if you're already going at a 50 zoom. You're already going to be using the Beloved or the Adored, which I want to say is at a 40 zoom. And the Beloved and the Adored, I think they changed Adored to Solar to actively compete with other weapons of the same archetype. And then you have the Soul Survivor comes out of the fish engrams, Season of the Deep, right? Soul Survivor, it doesn't have anything to write home about. But if we go to the Mercurial Overreach, the Mercurial Overreach doesn't really, like I said, it doesn't really do it for me, but it's supposed to be PvP focused. The red dot sight on the scope does not bother me, because I want to say Bungie fixed that a long time ago. The handling's mid for most of these. Is going to feel mid. And so the surplus no distractions roll, or surplus opening shot, and surplus and surplus and so I'm going to advocate for surplus for this weapon, because it's going to boost up my handling for that weapon, along with getting the right type of stock to increase the handling, probably with a quick access sling or a sprint grip. And that is going, if the Mercurial Overreach could be adept and get the adept handling mod on it, I would then vouch for Mercurial Overreach to be a top contender. But you can't do that with those type of weapons. If the Mercurial Overreach or the Rose ended up getting some way to where you can enhance them to get adept perks on them, and you could adept out the whole kit with adept surplus and adept opening shot, Mercurial Overreach would be the uncool looking version of the Macabre. Now I want to say the Macabre is I think it's an aggressive Gundam gun, but putting the Uzume up against the Mercurial Overreach, they look so similar that they're both staying in the vault. Now, if you like it, you like it. If you don't go for it. Don't go for Mercury Overreach in comp if you don't want it. Go for Rose. Go for Balisarius D. Uzume R4. I like it. I kind of use it, but I don't really use it. But I'm glad that I have it. But it'll probably stay in my vault for a long period of time. Now, hopefully I don't stay on this rocket launcher for too long, because look at the competition it's got going up against it. So tomorrow's answers kind of no one's answered anything. Sleepless gets deleted so much. Royal the Bear, we'll come back to Royal the Bear. Code Dulio is I don't even whatever. Decimochin, people use that a lot. Braytech Osprey, Sleepless, and again Royal the Bear. But the thing that they left out of here, I want to say, is the Crux Determination. The Crux Determination, I want to say, is a high impact rocket launcher. Now, if I'm correct, I'm searching through my vault right now on DIM. DIM video coming soon. Go ahead and plug that in. No, it's an aggressive frame. All right, so it's not. They didn't miss it out, but it feels so much like the Crux Determination, I might as well put it up against it. But I guess apples for apples, right? Braytech Osprey ain't got jack doodly squat going for it. It feels bad. It can't even get tracking on it. It's got lasting impression, unless they bring that back. If Bipod cuts your damage in half, lasting impression should triple it. Because if it did, everyone would go after Braytech Osprey. It would be the new meta. But Royal the Bear is a iron banana gun, and when you go into iron banana, you get this perk called Skulking Wolf, whatever. And when you're doing good, you show up off the enemy's radar. When you have that weapon, you got impact casing, you got tracking, you got incandescent. On GMs clearing out as Royal the Bear, you're going to feel the difference versus using the Braytech Osprey Adept. Now, if we compare the Braytech with impact casing and frenzy or demolition rounds, whatever, I think it's called volatile rounds, whatever. I think it's called demolition rounds, whatever. So it's doing the void thing for the incandescent. And you still got to put damage on that enemy even when you make them volatile. So it isn't the same as Scorch. Scorch is going to do the damage over time and then make them explode, doing boom, boom, boom. It's going to be doing a lot of things. It's cluster bombs inside of an enemy. But I digress. Don't go for Braytech Osprey. If you get it, put it in your vault or delete it. Whatever. Nameless Midnight. Nameless Midnight used to be tried and true. Back when we had double primaries, had static rolls. Nameless Midnight is still good. Nameless Midnight feels like what... so Hung Jury used to feel good. Nameless Midnight also used to feel good. If you like Hung Jury, use Nameless Midnight instead. I have a Hung Jury Adept, and it stays in my vault. And I'm proud that I got it. Now, the Nameless Midnight can get Keep Away. It can get Kinetic Tremors. It can get Swashbuckler, Kill Clip, Rampage, High Impact Reserves, Opening Shot. Nameless Midnight brings everything to the table. Everything to the table, and it's still kinetic, so it still gets that 15% buff above the other strand and stasis weapon. So it still does what it does back in the past, but it does it better now. So the only reason you ain't been seeing Nameless Midnight is because, for one, our PvP maps are a bit small, so maybe when the map pack comes out, you're going to be seeing more scout rifle users come out. I've seen some transfigurations out there. I think they're trolling me. I think people put it on just to troll me and put it out there and kill me with it, just to show that Transconfiguration isn't trash, but Transconfiguration is still trash, ladies and gentlemen, still trash. Hung Jury SR4 Adept. Hung Jury is cool, but the Amalong Scout Rifles never felt like they hit hard. When you shoot an Amalong weapon, you're shooting a laser beam, and when that laser beam comes out, it feels like you're shooting marshmallows. But when you shoot the Nameless Midnight is a full-blown bullet, and you feel it, and it's just pow, pow, pow. And Nameless Midnight feels like you're shooting it. Hung Jury, if you've got the god roll of whatever you consider here as a god roll, the rapid hit, the explosive payload, cool. But Nameless Midnight feels like Tears of Contrition. Tears of Contrition. Look at the models. Tears of Contrition is basically corrupted Nameless Midnight. So, right? Am I seeing that right? But it's got a little bit of scope on it. But Tears of Contrition, in my opinion, is the corrupted version of Nameless Midnight. Check the lore. The triple tap, 4 times the charm, enhanced. When we actually get a scout rifle artifact perk, you're going to be seeing Regolith 47, Tears of Contrition, Nameless Midnight. You're not going to see, if you see Hung Juries out there, it's probably because of the flex, but you're going to see so many other better scout rifles than Hung Jury, than, I forgot the main weapon I was talking about was Nameless Midnight. You're going to see so many different weapons. So if you don't have a Hung Jury, don't even worry about it. But the Regolith 47, Reconstruction, you can get Cascade Point, you can get Opening Shot, you can get Box Breathing, and get Hatchling. And then the Suros perk on it, after you reload, it reduces flinch for a while. So you can Reconstruction it, Hatchling, shoot a bullet, reload, and then it's gonna do its own thing on Reconstruction. You got a little bit less flinch, but Regolith 47, you've probably been killed by it in PvP, and you know that it's a workhorse. If you've been hit by it, you're like, wow, they killed me with the Glendo 47. You're hopefully gonna see more people use Nameless Midnight. You're gonna see them laning Larry. They're gonna be standing in the back of the map, shooting down. Now, if we look at everything across the board, the Hung Jury versus the Tears of Contrition versus Nameless Midnight, all in all, we mainly care about is stability and range. And Hung Jury, it looks like it has it in spades, but I guarantee you get into a gunfight out there, it's not going to feel the same. You're gonna be in more close quarters combats, and that range isn't going to matter too much. But the Tears of Contrition at a 52 is going to outpace a hand cannon in those mid to long range fights, right? Not the mid to short game fights, which I feel like Hung Jury kind of does a little bit better in, versus the way that the gun's modeled, right? The stock, the barrel, and all that. I believe that the barrel does play a part in it all. So we're looking at the positive outlook. The positive outlook is the void version of the Amit. It is the void version of the number. So the number is a good gun. So if you know anybody who uses the number, I use the number. We're not going to be talking about Shadow Price. Even when it comes back, it still needs a better perk pool for itself. It has no jolt. It has no real synergies with itself. So we're going to be skipping over the Shadow Price Adept. The positive outlook, in my opinion, is one of the best auto rifles in the game for void. It has, what is that gun from way back when? It is Uriel's Gift. Uriel's Gift. Positive outlook is the child of Uriel's Gift. Uriel's Gift felt so good. Positive outlook feels good, but only if you can get it to not bounce. And there's one perk on there called Zen Moment that stops the gun from bouncing. A lot of good perks go with this gun because the gun does what it does best, and it does kill people. It will confidently put bullets down range against an opponent, and you'll end up getting that kill, and they were like, oh, they killed me with a positive outlook. It's almost like they should have. It's almost like they feel like they got killed by Amit, right? And then if you combine this with, I would say, Golden Tricorn, Pugilist. If you want to go for the destabilizing rounds, you can go for the destabilizing rounds. But once you get an Arrowhead Break, a Ricochet round, Zen Moment, it's not a 5 out of 5, but you need that. It's a 3 out of 3. That's the God roll right there. Arrowhead Break, Ricochet rounds, Zen Moment, whatever else is at the end. Go into PvP, use it, put in work. If you are a hunter, you can use Gerfalcons. You can give it volatile anyway. If you're a warlock, throw a grenade, you can make it volatile anyway. The last perk column didn't matter, but the number is the same exact way, but it doesn't have as much bounce. It feels like the Amit. So I don't know what happened between positive outlook and the Amit, but it was the bounce between the positive outlook is just a lot. right? Now, the positive outlook is going to be going up against the Gnawing Hunger. I know the Gnawing Hunger is an adept auto. I know that or that's a precision frame, and the Gnawing Hunger is an adept. But when we talk about void auto rifles, we talk about the best, putting them up against the best. The Gnawing Hunger is the best at what it does. If you have an old school one, it's even better. But the new school ones aren't too bad. You can still get the Zen Moment. You can still get all the damage dealing perks in the game. You got the Rampage to kill clip, the multi-kill clip, and then you got the Demolitions and the Swashbuckler. You can't go wrong with a Gnawing Hunger. But how do you get a Gnawing Hunger? Well, you've had to have played Gambit. So that's probably why a lot of people do not have a Gnawing Hunger. And if you get killed by one, you deserve to get killed by the Gnawing Hunger, because it does put out the damage. Arrowhead Break doesn't even get it close to a 100% recoil direction, because if it reached 100, the game would crash and all the auto rifles in the game would blow up. Age-Old Bond is not a contender in this, but the Ross Arago 4 is another contender if we're putting adepts against adepts, because everyone's familiar with the Ross Arago. Astrocross put out a video about Ross Arago, and Ross Arago is supposed to be the next coming of all void auto rifles in the game because it has wild card. Ross Arago does feel good because it's an adept, but so does the Gnawing Hunger because it's an adept. Now, if we know that the ambit feels good, that means that you should know that the positive outlook looks good. And the Arc Logic is the other adept version of those sets of guns that feel really good, and you can get that from Eris Morn. Go do those nightmares on the moon, and the Arc Logic feels good ever since they changed the muzzle flash for the Arc Logic. Now the Arc Logic is still beaming with perks, but it is also a laser beam. So Ross Arago void version, then you have Gnawing Hunger is another void adept. And then we're putting that against Age-Old Bond. And I put that on there because I like it. The Age-Old Bond is a gun that I personally like. And Positive Outlook is an Amalong void precision frame that does do what it needs to do. So if you're looking for a void weapon and you don't have Age-Old Bond and you don't got the Gnawing Hunger and you can't get a Ross Arago 4 to save your life, go over to the Vanguard, go talk to Zavala, and grind and turn in all those engrams that you're probably sitting on and get you a God Roll Positive Outlook, because it's going to be the void auto rifle that you need. Now again, Age-Old Bond here, this is how I'm going to kit it out, and I'm going to do that tap the trigger, and I'm more than likely going to end up putting either Focus Fury or Harmony on that, because I'm going to be using the Age-Old Bond probably with another primary, and I just hit my computer because I'm moving my hands around. The Flare Magwell is probably going to help it out a lot. The reload masterwork, just so I don't have to build into a reload perk on my gauntlets. I can kind of free that up for something else. But the tap the trigger is probably going to be mandatory. I can give Dynamic Sway a type of try, but tap the trigger is probably going to be what I am going for. But I can't but I can't leave out the possibilities for the collective action or the golden tricorn. Now the collective action, you pick up a breach, tangle, fire sprite, whatever it may be, it gets increased. This weapon gets increased damage. So if I feel like the gun's doing good with the arrowhead break and the flare well magwell and the dynamic sway or the tap the trigger, I can focus more on the utility of the last perk if I'm doing well with the gun. Now the sleeper of all the weapons sitting at Zavala is going to be the Luna Regolith, right? Whatever. The Luna Regolith 3. The Luna Regolith 3 is another weapon that can have wild card. Now, still, a lot of people like wild card. I've never seen anybody in PvP or even in PvE get killed by wild card, but when those 3 little Telesto bolts come out of someone's head, I think it's just like it's like hitting the slot machines. But again, this gun's actually good though. It's a sniper. It's a solar sniper, aggressive with wild card, so it is a bit sluggish. You're going to be really feeling missing out on the handling for this gun. Now, in order to make up for that handling, again, we're going to probably be looking at either quick draw or we're going to be looking at surplus. But quick draw is probably the way to go, just so you don't got to focus on anything else for the weapon, because you're going to want to draw that weapon extremely fast, especially if you see the sniper shot. It's like shooting a flock of geese. When you get them in your sights, you're going to want to take that shot. Now, opening shot, firing line, box breathing, they're probably all going to be good candidates for the Regolith 3. Box breathing probably for more steady sniper shooters. Firing line with other PvP people, just to get more damage. Now, the Macabre I was talking about earlier, I'm bringing this up now. So we have people who love the oculated finality with this satellite zoom, 58 zoom, and the Macabre feels okay. And then the Albruna is a Gambit sniper rifle. You probably never heard of it because you don't play Gambit, but you probably bumped into a few Last Fortes. Now, the Last Forte can be good, but putting it up against the Luna, right? We're looking at Last Forte, we're looking at the Luna, and then if we go back to the Gambit one, we're looking at the Albruna. Now, the Albruna is not all bad. It is a Hake. It shoots in, like, Hake aggressive sniper rifles feel like they what's that gonna call, like a tank, anti-tank rifle, a 50 cal. It feels like shooting a 50 cal when you shoot a Hake weapon. And if you were using it to get through things, because the Hake breach armaments that they're going to be updating damage to constructs later, so Titan shields beware, the Albruna is going to really knock those things out of the park. If I'm using a sniper rifle in PvE, I'm using it to destroy stasis walls to get the explosion. I'm using it to destroy my stasis balls to get the tangles. And if I'm in PvP, I'm probably gonna go for Last Forte. Now, I say Forte, but it's Foray, whatever. The Last Foray, I'm going to be utilizing that with the elemental. I want to say it's called elemental capacitor. Yeah, elemental capacitor. And that is so I can cheat out on mainly the handling. So I don't have to really go into surplus, right? You're seeing the reload speed one here because it's a solar. This is on D2 Gunsmith. But to cheat out the handling, and then I'm probably going to be going for Frenzy box breathing, right? So cheat out the handling, go for a box breathing, pull the gun out, get the kill. Kind of works in PvE, not really. If you're using Last Foray, you're using it for PvP, in my opinion. The Albruna is all-arounder. If you play enough Gambit, you can probably get a Swiss Army knife, one of the Albruna. Now, that is going to do it for Zavala's weapons that you can focus for this week with the double rewards. You're going to be playing a bunch of them. Max out that rank, get more perks in the third and fourth column so you don't have to keep doing this over and over again. Forbearance at home is Undercurrent. Don't go for the Uzume. Osprey is garbage. I thank you guys for watching. Like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.